what's up everybody? TGI, FBF, thank God it's Flat Bill Friday, long week. We had 5 inches of snow here in Charlotte, pretty much shut everything down for a couple days, including the schools, which meant kids, dogs, and everybody inside, a little cabin fever going on. And there's only so many snowmen you can make, only so much sledding you can do. So we are excited that the weather's finally warmed up. We're out of our houses and we've made it to the weekend, so cheers to that. We had a really great week here at Costello Real Estate Investments, and I was talking to a couple different agents, and one conversation specifically is what I want to talk about today. And I was talking to an agent, and he really wanted to understand, hey Steve, how do you differentiate yourself within the market, within real estate? And he said, I get all these questions all the time, but I feel like I'm giving the same answers as everybody else. And I, for myself, I've learned and realized pretty early on, it's critical that you have a differentiator, that you have some sort of value proposition that sets you aside or makes you somewhat unique to the market. And for me, I started the 5 C's, and it's a mantra. It's really a value prop that I specifically focus on, and it's around close, care, communicate, collaborate, and compliance. We started with the end in mind. Every buyer or seller's goal ultimately is to close on the house. So we start there. That's the center of kind of our diagram. And around that we have care. It's important that I understand the wants, the wishes, the desires, the must-haves of each of my buyers and sellers. And I care about that from what they want versus what I want. The second part is communication. It's the linchpin to the entire process because there's so many things that happen throughout buying or selling a home. It's critical that you communicate the risk reward of each one of those phases to your buyer or your seller. The third part is the collaboration. You work with different agents, attorneys, inspectors, different folks. A lot of hands are involved in this process. It's very important that you collaborate and that you work together. And then that last piece is the compliance piece. These are legally binding documents that have long-term ramifications, and if not done correctly, can put yourself and other people in serious jeopardy. So for me, it was the 5 C's. That's how I differentiate myself. That's my value prop to my client. And it led to even a stronger conversation around just how important it is to have a differentiator and be unique. And again, it doesn't have to be real estate specific, because ultimately, if you're competing with somebody else, you need to have a way to stand out above the rest. So whether it's real estate or whether it's technology or whether it's recruiting or whatever the industry is, I would just encourage you to really understand and be audible ready around what it is. And there are 3 things that I think are important, whatever it is, whether it's 5 C's, 3 D's, 4 S's, it doesn't matter. I think there's 3 critical criteria. 1, it has to be controllable. You have to be able to control whatever actions you're going to be able to take to get the end result. 2, they have to be consumable. Your end user audience, the people that you are working with, the buyers or sellers, they have to understand what it is you're providing. And third and finally, and maybe even most importantly, it has to be something that you can do consistently, something that you can repeat over and over and over, because through that repetition, you're only going to get better, better, and better, and your value prop is only going to continue to separate you at even greater levels. So for me, that's what I want to talk about this week. What's your differentiator? What's your value prop? How are you communicating it? And is it setting you above the rest? Have a great week, and we'll talk to you next Friday.